Hi, so I'm Ashley, or Squeewubs. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm the bloggesser, I don't know, bloggess behind I'm So Hungry. And yeah, so I haven't, I did one of these ages ago, but not recently, and not for the blog. And I thought, since I got Camtasia to work properly, finally, I thought I'd just give you a sample of what I kind of do when I muck around in Lightroom, which is totally awesome and amazing, and I love this program. I don't know where I'd be without it because editing in Photoshop was the biggest pain in the butt before. Um, so I haven't structured this at all, so I'm just going to say whatever comes to my brain while I'm editing these. These were all taken at a gorgeous Lux Bite. We were very kindly invited by Bernard and Yenny to try out their new summer desserts, which are lovely, but you'll find out more about that in my photos. So yeah, I use Lightroom just because, the flow is so easy. You don't have to keep opening pictures like you do in Photoshop. They're all there. You select one, you edit it, and it's changes are there. You don't have to save it again. And once you're done with all the editing, you can then only export them all together at one time, which makes life so much easier. And I mean, like if you shoot with with manual settings, so you can easily adjust one photo and then just copy that and then apply that across the board multiple times, and and it like adjusting everything. Well, as long as you're shooting in RAW. I hope you're all shooting in RAW, especially for food photography, because yes, it takes more time and they are bigger files, and I can understand if you shoot in JPEG as well because there are definitely bonuses to it. But with RAW, you obviously have so much more control. And you're probably wondering why I'm zooming in and out constantly. Before I get back to white balance, what I do is I take way too many pictures. As you can see, I have 221 photos just from one day at Luxbite. That's 2 hours of eating, 100 photos an hour. Yeah, kind of happens when you're around food bloggers a lot. But when I'm trying to pick a photo, although it looks pretty from here, I like to try and zoom in and find the one that I think is sharpest. Just because, so like this one, tiny bit sharper than this one, so I try not to hold and delete all my photos, but I try to find the one that's sharpest at the point where I want it to be sharp. In case I decide to blow it up for whatever reason in the future, I have the ability to do that. So I'm quite happy with these. So I'll go with that. So these are cute, but I kind of like that better. So, but yeah. So yeah, I said I would do a whole bunch of photography posts, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So here's me editing instead, and just having some verbal diarrhea. I really like my photos bright and white, if you couldn't tell, unless I'm in a dark place where that's not really possible. But yeah. And luckily for me, Luxbite is gorgeous to shoot, and so a lot of the white balance has been taken care for me. But one thing I do love about Lightroom, if you don't know already, is you see this little thing here. Just click on that. You find a thing that should be white. So obviously the table and the walls are white. So just click it, and it should adjust the white balance for you as it sees fit. But of course, this is what it thinks white should be, and it's probably very accurate. But I find all this yellow here is really overbearing to all the blues here, especially when this is my focus, because this is what is in focus, and it's also with the colors of balance, that's sort of what your eye is drawn to because it is on that rule of third line, etc., etc. Wee, pretty thing here. I will do a post about that eventually. So I usually manually adjust it a little bit after because I want the pretty blues and then the reds pop a little bit more. I've heard people say that it's nicer to make food look warm, but I kind of like it a little bit cooler, depending on the situation, because I think colors come out a lot more when you See, I don't like any of that. When the colors come out more when the bright colors come out more when it's cooler and there's a lot of white. When there's a lot of white, it works quite well. Look how pretty that red looks. But yeah, I shoot with the 50mm on my 50mm lens on my camera, which is a Nikon D7000, which is fantastic. It's a little bit slower than the D90, which I used to use, and the D70S before that. But other than that, like the color, color is gorgeous straight off the camera most of the time. And it's a bit slow. I hate waiting for it to process. So I don't really like. My issue with these photos is there's just too much stuff here. I kind of want to. I could do a manual crop like this and make just it look a little prettier in general, but I tend to be a bit anal, and I like to have it at the actual the proper photo at the original ratio, just because that's how I shoot it, so that's therefore how I think it should stay. And if I ever print out again, then it's an easy size to work from. RAW is also good because it's good for cropping. It makes life so much easier. Although if you do want to shoot things close up, you should try to get as close to them as possible before taking pictures, because the quality in regardless of shooting it, if you're shooting in RAW or whatever. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Regardless of whether you crop or not, shooting as close as you can will always make it sharper. Although this still looks pretty good. Oh, so good, so yummy. Oh, so much sugar coma though. Oh, yeah. I like to play with colors a little more too sometimes, but sometimes it's just best to leave it as true as it can get. That's still not great, but I'll leave that. I kind of like, not that. I'm so bad with pictures though. I figure though, if you shoot digital, you're in a lifetime where you can take as many freaking pictures as you want. So you may as well, right? I mean, what's the point of having 500 available photos on your camera, other than the time it takes to edit them? Like now, I would edit a lot faster when I'm talking to you all as well. But what's the point in trying to save up your photos if you're going to dump them anyway? And you can just mass delete them. Like sometimes if I find one picture I like, then I just and I'm happy with how sharp it is, then I wouldn't bother to look at the rest, just because it makes your life so much faster, and whatnot. Oh, gorgeous. So I try to be because there's a lot of white here obviously, but I use the histogram here, and it kind of shows you where you are maxing out the whites and maxing out the blacks. I don't know the proper terminology. I'm a faux photographer. You can't really tell. If I do this, you'll notice it. So then it's like, oh, this is all overexposed, bad, and you go this way. You're like, oh, this is all, oh, well, you can't really underexpose it too much. But you see the little bright blue things here, and it's telling you that those are underexposed. But I don't know. This is, well, it's a very underexposed photo in general. That looks a bit better. But yeah, this should, I think, more be like this should all be peaking more in the middle. So ideally it should be, I don't know, even here, but I don't like it. So it's all down to personal preference sometimes, what you want to do. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to say, yes, I shoot with a 50mm. I get sidetracked really easily. I shoot with a 50mm, therefore my photos are all very cropped and tight. Which is sometimes awesome and sometimes not, because sometimes I'm just really close to my food and I do this really weird blogger lean back and pose in really awkward positions to get pictures kind of thing. But it does. Oh man, guys, if you have a Nikon, you need a 50mm lens. Like, it's amazing. It just gives it's fast. I get that comment from everybody I go out for dinner with who has a camera. Like, whoa, that's so fast. Your photo's already done. And it also gives you beautiful depth of field. I mean, just look at that. I love depth of field, if you hadn't noticed from my blog already. That's Shelley at work. I think it's important to try and align your photos as much as you can. But I know that can be difficult too sometimes. It's like, where's the horizon in this? I mean, that's not a horizon. I wish that maybe should have moved that. Oh well. Probably don't need. Oh, that one's a nice one actually. Like, and also, like, when you try to differentiate between photos, like me, it's like I've got all these pictures, but it's just little things like there's a hand here that isn't here, so there's not as much distracting from the picture, but this picture is blurrier in general, even though it hasn't fully loaded, so I'll get rid of that. But between these two, you'd probably go for this one, just because there's less in the background here. This is all super fuzzy, and that's just stands out because it contrasts a lot against the black. So you'd probably go with that picture over that picture. Or that's what I look for anyway. And I mean, it sounds like really anal. And I mean, if I could, I would, be nitpicking so much more. But you don't have time to enjoy life if you just are a nuisance about everything. Oh look, see how gorgeously sharp that is, sort of. I should have reduced my noise a little bit, my ISO a bit when I was doing this, but that's what noise reduction is for. In Lightroom 3, noise reduction is ridiculous. It is life-saving. And you put a sharpen in it, and it's so beautiful. So pretty. I'm really happy with that one. But yeah, that's just a quick introduction to what I do. I'll do something more structured next time. Catch you all soon.